I have some very bad news when it comes to pronunciation. If you are pronouncing your vowels and your consonant sounds perfectly, that is still not a guarantee that you're going to have a very natural accent in American English. And in fact, that can get in the way. And in fact, even if you have issues with specific sounds, you can actually still sound very natural if you're able to use this tool that we're going to discuss today very, very effectively. It's all about emotion and thinking about what is it that you want your listener to feel as you talk. What is it that you want your listener to feel when you're communicating with them? Good morning, guys. Good evening. Good afternoon. Welcome to your daily American English pronunciation show. Wake up, American. We are here Monday through Friday, right around 8 a.m. New York, to make sure that you can get in your 5 to 10 minutes of pronunciation practice for today, because that is what it takes. If you are serious about pronunciation, you need to show up for yourself consistently. That's why we do so much of what we do. We have these daily live streams to make sure you can get in your time in your practice on topics. We have a pronunciation group on Telegram that meets every single day where I post a challenge and our group members can reply. We have group coaching classes that meet 3 times a day. So that way, again, students can get opportunities to practice their pronunciation, because that's what it's about. It's pronunciation takes time. You have to show up for yourself in a consistent way. And that's what we are here to do. When I say we, I mean me. Hello, guys. My name is Jeff. It rhymes with breath. That's one of the 4 keys to a natural sound in American English, including placement, pitch, breath, trying to weaken your consonant sounds and strengthen your vowels. We got some people with us. Milad's in the house. What's up? Ganshim is with us as well. And Zabeta is here as well. Good to see all of you. Let's take a look at a dialogue. Okay, I think this will help us cement our point for today. Give me one moment. Okay, let us see where I put it. Okay, we're going to work with this little transcript. Okay, so we have a transcript here, and we're not going to focus on the entire thing, but I want you, and this is going to be especially helpful for people who are watching us. If you're on the podcast, it might be a little hard. I want you to focus on the first couple sentences here. Just take a moment. If you need to pause the stream, you can pause it. I want you to just read from, but it does a really good job down to part of it. Just kind of read that to yourself. In fact, if you want to take this to the next level so I can show you just how effective this is going to be, I would even record myself saying this. So take a moment to record yourself just reading from but down to part of. Okay, and it's okay if you record yourself a couple times if you really want to see the difference that we're about to make. Okay, so just read it to yourself. Let's now imagine that you've paused and you've everything. Let's now, so maybe now you've had time to kind of familiarize yourself with everything. Let's now kind of dive into analyzing this a little bit. Okay. The question that how do you want your listener to feel? What's the emotion you're trying to convey to your listener as you speak? Okay. So let's just kind of highlight some moments in this and kind of the emotions that are associated with them. So for me, I kind of see this first part down to feel. We see this like really good job of making you feel. So this first part here, I'm sensing kind of a lot of positivity, right? So maybe I want to convey that to my listener. Okay. And then how will we follow this up? This next part. Oh, this next part, a lot more negative, like frustration. Okay, so this part here, I'm getting a lot more negative vibes. Okay. And then what's our next part doing? We're just cobbling together life and you're hounded at every turn. This sounds, we have all these kind of like negative things happening. We're building on the negativity here. So all these things like cobbling together life, hounded at every turn, these are not good things. These things sound tiring. So maybe this next part, what I want to do, I want to show a sense of exhaustion. Okay. To one where you can actually build your own life. Maybe we'll actually stop there just for the sake of time. Okay. One where you can actually build your own life. This to me, I get a sense of hope and positivity. Okay, so these are the different emotions that we have. So notice that, it's only like two sentences or so, but we got a wide range of emotions kind of going on here. So as I communicate with my listener, I want to be able to demonstrate all these different emotions. I want my listener, when I'm at the specific part of my sentence, to feel a specific thing. And this is how we can incorporate also, for instance, elements of humor and things like that. So, for instance, one of the things I notice when I'm looking at the first two thought groups here, and maybe you notice this too, we start off sounding really happy, right? Does a really good job, making you feel, the really good job part makes us sound really happy. But what does it do a really good job of? It makes you do a really good job of make you feel desperate. Oh, well, that's not. I thought this was going to be a happy thing. This isn't happy. This is sad, right? So we have that kind of switch. Okay, that's for those of you who are more advanced in your language journeys. I mean, this is irony. Irony. Where you expect one thing and receive something else. Um, that irony can be something that we really try to play out. Okay, so if you're not sure what irony is, this is an example of it. It's a concept that is certainly worth studying because it can really enrich your language. Okay, so let's now take this to the next level. If you made a recording of yourself, I want you to make another recording. Okay, and we'll make a third recording in a moment, don't worry. But I want you to pause, make a second recording of yourself, trying to read it, these thought groups, with these emotions. So starting off with a sense of positivity, the next thought group going negative, the next thought group, I want you to sound tired and exhausted. And then the last thought group, I want you to have hope and positivity. Okay? So, trying to capture those specific emotions. Now, what we'll do is I will show you an example of that. Okay? And then what I'd like you to do for your final recording is I'd like you to try to copy me. Okay? Hello to YouTube user. Got a question. Forwardness when I speak. When you say, I don't know if forwardness means what you think it means. Forwardness is almost like attitude or things like that. Do you mean when you say forwardness, like you feel like you're projecting more towards your lips? It's hard to know if you're talking about a phrase or a word or things like that. A couple ways you can kind of check to see where your placement is you can just do a quick scale. So like if you take a sound like E, what you can do is try moving that. So like for instance, like E, 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 E. Okay, so like you can see the movement there. Okay. If that's difficult, you can also try just dragging. So like E. Okay, so you can see that I'm literally moving the placement around. I think also just building awareness of your own body. So for instance, try moving the E sound to different placements. So for instance, you mentioned that your placement, he mentioned around the lips. Okay. So if your placement is around the lips, this is what it sounds like if your placement is kind of like around here. This is my placement.
This is my placement. If I go up by my nose, this is what my placement sounds like. No, I'm talking like through here.
This is what my placement sounds like if I'm like top of my throat, back of my mouth. This is what my placement sounds like if it's like in my stomach. And this is where my natural sort of placement is. So I would encourage you, I need you to play around with your body a lot more to find out what it sounds like when you're in different positions. I would love for you to arrive at a moment where you can always identify where your placement is. Like, oh, right now I'm talking here. Oh, right now I'm talking here.
Oh, right now I'm talking here. Oh, now I'm talking here.
You know, like, you should always be able to identify that. Okay, so you need to build up more awareness of your body. Um, the last thing I would say is that if you're trying to lower your placement, it can be helpful to engage your diaphragm a lot more. We have lots of videos. We have breath videos on the channel. If you go to our channel homepage, there's a whole video playlist of just videos on breath. So those are some other techniques. Okay. We also have a playlist that's called 7 Day Placement Challenge, which is 7 videos. Each of them is like 2 minutes long that go through different placement exercises. It's like 7 videos of that. So lots of ways to practice. Let us return to our central topic. Okay, so we've identified all the elements, all the phrases that we want to say, and we've identified how we want to say them. So the first thought group is positivity. YouTube user says, thank you. Thank you for asking the question. It's a good one. So this first thought group, we need to show positivity. How do I show positivity? Well, one thing I might do a lot of times emotionally to show positivity, we use a lot of higher pitches. It makes things sound a little friendlier and brighter. It's like I might go higher. It's like, but it does a really good job of making you feel like it does a really good job. And those some other things too that I'm doing here. I'm starting a little faster, but it does a then I'm going slow on the really good job part because that's the part I want to emphasize. But it does a really good job of making you feel. Then we get our second thought group where things shift. We have that desperate part, and I want to convey that. So how do I show the negativity? And now I don't like this. Lower pitches, maybe going a little slower. Okay. But it does a really good job of making you feel desperate at the beginning. Do you get that tone shift there? Okay. The next part, I want to show exhaustion because I'm doing, you're doing the cobbling together. You're being hounded. This sounds really exhausting. Okay, so let's add that to it. But it does a really good job of making you feel desperate at the beginning, where you're just cobbling together a life and you're hounded at every turn. Then what happens? We have this moment where we get happy and hopeful to one where you can actually build your own life. So I want to convey that sense of hope, but maybe also relief because I'm no longer being hounded and I'm no longer just cobbling together a life. What I'm doing now is all that pain and struggle that is gone. So now I can relax. It's like to one where you can actually build your own life. It's like adding a little bit of breath of relief. Like finally, right? Okay. So notice that each one of these thought groups kind of takes on its own little personality. Okay, so let's do that all together one more time. But it does a really good job of making you feel desperate at the beginning. We're just cobbling together life that you're hounded at every turn. One where you can actually build your own life. See how each of those changed? Are you able to do that in your own speech? Do you see how the way that you say a thought group can convey a different emotion to your listener? How that even in a single sentence, you can take your listener onto a journey. This isn't just about English. You can do a lot of these techniques and things if you think about adapting it to your first language or any other language you're using. Okay, these are communication strategies. Think about this because the reality is that if you do these sorts of things, they can actually end up helping you sound much more natural than the times where you're focusing on, oh, I need to pronounce this vowel sound, or oh, I need to pronounce this consonant sound. If you would like to practice this more, I would encourage you to check out our pronunciation group on Telegram. What we do every single day is I post some challenge words, phrases to say. You send in audio, and then you get feedback. So that way you know, are you actually doing this right? Because the problem with these streams is I can't hear you. So I don't know what your recordings were doing and things like that. So if you want to get actual feedback to see if you're implementing these changes to your pronunciation in a way that's effective, we'd love to work with you. With that being said, guys, I need to head out. But thanks for spending some time with me. Look, there's a million pronunciation resources out there. So the fact that you spent some time here with me, it's greatly, greatly appreciated. Once more, my name is Jeff. It runs with breath. That's one of the four keys to a natural sound, including placement, pitch, breath, trying to weaken your consonant sounds, trying to strengthen your vowel sounds. I will see you all later. Hope you have a good day. Have a good night and a good afternoon. You guys take care.